part about a shark is that they do have those dermal denticles. And so when you try to cut a shark open, you're basically cutting against sandpaper. So your knives go dull very, very quickly. So what we're going to do, she's going to make a couple slits there in order to get into inside the animal, and then you're going to cut in and out. So you're actually going to cut from inside the animal to the outside, so you can avoid some of those denticles. Oh goodness! Nice. Oh, there's some good stuff in there. Look at this. It's like a party. Yeah. Let it all out. Okay. All right. Now we're in there. Y'all are lucky you're not up here. Okay. Great. Okay. So what you'll notice is these two giant lobes. And I'm trying to see if it has this. So I will notice, right now I'm looking for a siphon sac. So basically they don't have any way to get the sperm into the female. So what they do is that they have these, like, on a more mature animal, that the skin here, watch your head here, yeah, get your head out of the way. The skin here would actually detach from the animal, and it would suck water up, and then it would flex its belly, and then it would shoot water out, and it would go out the placentas, pick up the sperm, and go into the female. But this animal's not mature enough, so the skin's still stuck together. Okay, so the thing we see most here is right here. These are the shark's livers. And these can make up to 30% of their body weight. And remember before I said that sharks are negatively buoyant. They don't have that swim bladder that we see in other fish. But these livers work sort of the same way. So anytime they eat, when they're eating a bunch of really caloric-rich food, they store all of those calories into their livers here. And so livers the oils are lighter than water, so it actually adds to their buoyancy. So we know that sharks that are really well fed, they can stay in the water column a little bit easier than a shark that hasn't eaten recently because of the lipids that are in those livers. And this is also what was historically caused the reason for initial harvest of sharks is that they are rich in vitamin A. And so they were harvested for vitamin A until vitamin A was synthesized. Also, the livers were melted down in things for like basking sharks in order to make oil, the same way that we would basically render down whales in order to make oil. So I'm going to cut this liver out. And so what we're also going to do is Ray's going to get these tray out. And so we, after this, are going to take these all out. So y'all can have a good time checking out some liver later afterwards. So it's a pretty incredible organ. So again, that's 30% of its body weight are those livers right there. And there's two of them. I like these big knives for small things. Okay, so there's the second one. Got some connective tissue. Yeah. And oddly enough, I'm dripping all over the place, is that often when we do these dissections, people come up afterwards and they really want to take these things home. So I haven't quite figured out why, but for all you kids out there, your parents really do want you to take some of this home. So the next thing we see, the next big part of this that we see, we have this whole sort of digestive tract that happens here. So this is, what are we doing on the... So we can see that this is the stomach of the shark. So this whole thing here is the stomach. And they don't have sort of an intestinal tract like we have. They have this spiral valve that basically is, so we've got like all of these guts, like, you know, that would come out if we opened ourselves up the same way. They have it all sort of put together in one spiral unit, which basically it takes just as long or maybe even longer to digest than we do, but it kind of keeps it all bundled up because the sharks are they're basically trying to maximize the amount of calories, the amount of nutrients that they get out of every bite of food. So they're going to do a very slow digestive process in order to make sure that they do extract all those things. So it's a little bit different than the digestive tract that we have. Now, I'm going to come up here to the top of the stomach. Oh, we have zip ties. Now let's go for it. So often we zip tie this, so we look at the prey that's in them later on in sort of a controlled environment, but we're gonna lay it all out here for you all. Okay, so we're gonna pull through here, which is this esophageal sphincter, cut some connective tissues away, and actually, yeah, we're gonna just keep cutting. Yeah, everybody get in there. Try not to cut anybody's hand off. Okay, so now we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna dump it. Yep. Oh! Who wants a chocolate milkshake? Any more? Okay, so sometimes we do this. It's like, oh, cool. There's like a squid beak. We just have some eyeballs. Okay, so get in there. Okay, so often what we find is this. So inside the shark's stomachs is that we do a lot of work on foraging ecology to try to understand what they've been eating. And so there's a few people out here that spend a lot of time with this type of situation. But also we'll often find the hard bits of like squid beaks, or fish have these highly calcified bones in their ears. And each of them is unique to the species, and so we can identify the species based on those ear bones. What's that? Yeah, let's do it. Oh, right there? Let's put on a clean one. And I don't know if anybody wants to see that. Okay. So that's our stomach. Cool thing about sharks is that they can actually evacuate their stomach. So if you are a shark that's eating sort of like the pokey bits that you can't digest, like bones or turtle carapace and things like that, they actually can puke their whole stomach out and then suck it back in, which is pretty crazy, right? It's like, I'm not going to make an analogy. Okay, you see that these are the animal's testes here. If you can see those, if I get my hands out of the way. So again, this animal is not quite mature. So there's the testes there. It is in like a. So we'll send those out to y'all. So if it was a mature animal, they would. Sorry, a little bit lower. They'd be pretty big. But again, this animal, because we know from its claspers that it was not mature. So there's a lot of things. There's kidneys in here. I'm not going to get into all that, but basically the whole digestive tract leads in here. Sharks obviously don't have bones, so they don't make their red blood cells in their bones. So they actually make their red blood cells in their spleen. And they have a couple other cool adaptations. The other one that I'll talk about is this thing called a rectal gland. And so the idea about a rectal gland is that they have to balance the salt intake of the water. And so they actually make their body really acidic with uric acid, but they still have to balance the calcium and the sodium, so the salts that are in the water. So they have this rectal gland that actually allows them to excrete sodium chloride out of their body, the stuff that they absorb basically from the water column. And that's one of these unique characteristics that they have over the bony fish. And if y'all have heard of bull sharks that are able to go into salt and fresh water, they have some other cool adaptations with that rectal gland and some other things that allow them to basically transfer back and forth. Then I'm gonna pull up here. We're gonna get into a smaller knife, and we're gonna go into the cardiac cavity. Oh yeah, get your fingers in there. Okay, so sharks are they're older than us, and so they have a bit and have a different sort of habitat that they're in, obviously. And so they're going to have a different. Turn this around so folks can. They're very bendy. Okay, so So we'll go into this cavity here, and it is hard to get into, and we can see, can you see the heart? You can see the heart there. So I'm going to pull the heart out. So the cool thing about a heart is that the sharks don't have, well, they don't have the same kind of heart that we do. They do have, if y'all were here for the last dissection, I said they had a 2-chamber heart. I was wrong. They have a 4-chambered heart, but it's not the same kind of 4-chambered heart that we have. They don't have 2 atria and 2 ventricles. They actually only have one of those. And they have a whole series of basically sacs that goes through, and it's a singular unidirectional flow. So where ours does the ba-bump, it's just going to go kind of straight through. And Damien's going to play us a little bit about the heartbeat of what a shark would sound like, or the rate that a shark would beat. So they're going to beat about somewhere between 40 and 50 times a minute. So maybe about 2/3 or half of what some of us do. But the interesting thing about them is if you're a shark swimming along just sort of lazy, you're going to be at 40 and 50. If you're a shark that is, do you really want me to put it there? A shark that is exploding, like you're a white shark that's going to go explode out of the water and try to eat a seal, you're still going to be at 40 or 50 beats per minute. They do not change their heartbeat. What they do is they change the volume of the blood that they push. So the same way that Damien's getting louder as we attack our seal, the shark is going to increase the blood flow, but it's not going to increase its blood rate. So that whole Fitbit that you have in your arm doesn't really work for a shark because it's never actually going to sound like you're always going to sound really, really lazy. The cool thing, this sac, I keep taking it away from you because they're really, so they have this sac where basically they can, it's like a little holding spot that they bring in all the blood in. So when they do have these like big explosions of energy, they have access to the blood that's in there. So it's highly oxygenated blood. So we'll set this out there as well. So you've got your main, hold it down here, your main artery, and then your ventricles that come in the side. So we'll set that out there. If anybody wants to come and check that out, that'll be outside as well. I have bad news. I don't think the shark is going to make it. Despite our best efforts. We're good. Yeah, we can slide over. Despite our best efforts, I don't think the shark is going to make it, but this shark will be saved. We will use it for a bunch of other things to pull muscle, tissue out of it in order to look at what else it's been eating over weeks to months. We'll look at the liver to understand a little bit more about its origin and ecology as well. And then we'll take eyeballs and things like that we can age and compare the length and the age of this animal. So it doesn't go to waste. We all got to look at it and really experience this animal tonight, but we'll continue to use this animal and any of these animals that we get from the fisheries that they hand off to us. So with that, I think we will let the band play us out. We will take the shark out into the atrium out there if folks want to come check it out. If anybody wants to take some of that sludge home in their pocket, we'll have that available. And with that, I want to say thank you to everybody for being here tonight.